All right, let's talk about something that's on a lot of people's radar. Buying property in Turkey. You've probably heard the buzz. Well, today, we're giving you the 2025 guide. We're going to break down all the data, the rules, and the inside scoop to give you a clear map for navigating this really dynamic market. So, let's get right into it. So, what's the real story here? Is buying property in Turkey the investment dream it's made out to be, a ticket to a whole new lifestyle? Or is it a huge gamble, full of traps you don't see coming? That's the million-dollar question, right? And that's exactly what we're going to unpack, so you can start to figure out the answer for yourself.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the property boom itself. Then, we'll get into the big choice, residency or citizenship. After that, we'll cover the rules of the game, the stuff you absolutely have to know. We'll walk you through the process, step by step. And finally, we'll hit you with the reality check on costs, risks, and some of the myths out there.
All right, Section 1, the Turkish property boom. So why is everybody talking about Turkish real estate? I mean, what's all the fuss about? Well, the market is absolutely on fire right now. It's one of the most dynamic in the world. But here's the thing, it is not a one-size-fits-all deal. Where you decide to buy, that changes everything. It completely changes the game, as you're about to see.
So check this out. Your first major decision isn't even what kind of property to buy. It's where. And the differences are huge. You've got Istanbul, right? The economic hub. You're looking at higher prices, around $1,500 to $1,800 a square meter, but you're also getting those higher rental yields, maybe 5 to 8%. Then you have Izmir, more of a lifestyle city with a European vibe. Prices are a bit lower. And then there's Antalya, all about that coastal living and tourism. The point is, your choice of city really sets the stage for your entire investment.
But, it's not just about the spreadsheets and the data. The real appeal of Turkey is this incredible mix of things. You've got this strategic location, literally bridging continents. You have a high quality of life with all the modern stuff you'd expect. And the investment side is strong. You can actually earn rent in dollars, which is a huge plus. But here's the real kicker. You get full legal ownership. It's not a lease, it's not some complicated arrangement. The property is 100% yours. That's a game changer for a lot of foreign investors, especially those from Iran, where relations are favorable.
Okay, Section 2. This is a big one, residency or citizenship. This is maybe the most critical decision you're going to make, because it's a real fork in the road. Are you just looking for a beautiful place to live? Or is the end goal a second passport? Because depending on your answer, you're going down one of two very different paths.
So let's break it down. On one side, you've got renewable residency. Think of this as the lifestyle option. It's a lower investment, and it gets you a permit to live in Turkey that you can renew. On the other side, you have full-on citizenship. This is the passport option. It's a bigger investment, but it gets you a Turkish passport and all the rights of a citizen. The key difference really comes down to price and permanent. $200,000. That's the magic number for residency. It's your ticket in. You need to find a single property valued at 200 grand or more, and that's what qualifies you for that renewable residence permit. This is really the most popular path for people who are focused on the lifestyle. Okay, now for the big one. $400,000. That is the minimum investment for full Turkish citizenship and that coveted passport. And here's a really important distinction. Unlike the residency option, you can actually bundle properties together to reach that $400,000 mark. So you have a bit more flexibility in how you build your portfolio.
And the benefits that come with the citizenship program, they're pretty amazing. First off, it's not just for you. It includes your spouse and any kids under 18. Big deal, right? Plus, Turkey allows dual citizenship, so you don't have to give up your original passport. And get this, there's no mandatory stay, no language test you have to pass. The whole process is designed to be fast, wrapping up in about 3 to 6 months. It's incredibly streamlined.
All right, Section 3, the rules of the game. Look, every investment has its rule book, and Turkey is definitely no different. This is the part where we cover the absolute must-knows, the non-negotiables that you have to understand to make sure your purchase is safe, sound, and successful.
First things first, you need to know this word, tapu. Say it with me, tapu. This is everything. It's the official title deed. This single piece of paper is the most important document in the whole process. It is your absolute legal proof that you own that property. Everything you do is geared towards getting your hands on this.
Okay, next up is another acronym for you, DAB. This stands for the Foreign Exchange Purchase Certificate. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It's basically a receipt from the bank that proves you brought in foreign currency, dollars, euros, whatever, and legally exchanged it into Turkish lira to buy the property. This is a mandatory government step. No DAB, no deal. Simple as that.
And then there are a few other hard limits you gotta know. For one, foreigners can't own more than 30 hectares in total, and there are caps on how much of any given district can be foreign-owned. You also can't buy property in military or special security zones for obvious reasons. And for anyone aiming for citizenship, listen up. These last two are for you. You must buy the property from a Turkish citizen, and you can't sell that property for at least 3 years. Those are crucial.
Okay, Section 4, the blueprint. Now that we've covered the rules, let's talk about the actual process. How does this all happen? We're going to lay out a clear, step-by-step guide to take you from just looking to holding the keys. And honestly, it's probably more straightforward than you're imagining.
Here it is, the 6 steps to ownership. First, you knock out the admin stuff. Get yourself a Turkish tax ID number and open a bank account. Easy enough. Step 2, you get the official property valuation. That's called the expertise report, and it's super important. Step 3, you wire the money and get that DAB exchange certificate we just talked about. 4, you sign the contracts and officially apply at the title deed office. Step 5 is the big day. You make the final payment and you get your tapu. And finally, with that tapu in hand, Step 6 is applying for your residency or citizenship. See? A clear path.
And if you're on that citizenship path, here's what the timeline looks like after you've bought the property. Day 1, you get your tapu. Awesome. Then the clock starts. Within 1 to 3 weeks, you'll get what's called a suitability certificate. Once you have that, the main application goes in, and that usually takes somewhere between 3 and 6 months to be processed. So realistically, you could be holding a Turkish passport in about 6 months, give or take.
Okay, on to our final section, and this one is crucial. It's the reality check. We're going to talk about the costs, the risks, and the myths. Because look, every market has its downsides and its misunderstandings, and knowing about them ahead of time is absolutely key to making a smart, informed decision. Let's start with a big one. This quote here gets right to the heart of a major fear a lot of people have. Many believe if you buy a property in Turkey, you can't sell it. Sound familiar? But it goes on. If you buy a good property, you can sell it quickly and profitably. The key takeaway here is simple. Liquidity isn't a market problem, it's a property selection problem. Choosing the right one is a specialized skill. Okay, now let's talk about a huge myth, one that's often aimed at Iranian buyers, but really, it's a trap for anyone. It's this idea that you can buy a fantastic property for, say, 700 million toman. That's only about 12,000 US dollars. I mean, it sounds incredible, right? A place in Turkey for the price of a used car? But you have to ask yourself, is that for real? Can you actually buy a decent property for a price that low?
The reality? No, absolutely not. Let's be crystal clear about this. Properties advertised at that rock-bottom price are almost always one of a few things. They're in the middle of nowhere, they're falling apart, or they don't even exist. They're just fake ads. And most importantly, a property like that will never qualify you for residency. It's a dead end.
So, let's wrap this up with the pitfalls to avoid. Number 1, be super skeptical of those fake online listings, especially on sites like Sahibindin. They're often just there to get your phone number. Number 2, only work with licensed professional agents. This is not the place to cut corners. 3, do not, I repeat, do not skip the official valuation, the expertise. And 4, remember the hidden costs. You've got a budget for taxes. That's about 4%, plus notary and agent fees. The bottom line is this. Getting professional advice isn't a luxury here, it is an absolute necessity.
So that brings us to the final big question. You've got this incredibly dynamic market with rules that are always evolving. It offers so much: growth, lifestyle, even a new passport. But at the same time, it demands caution. So is now the right time to enter? Or is it the perfect time to be careful? That's the tension, right? The opportunity versus the risk. And hopefully, after this, you're a little closer to knowing where you stand. Thanks for joining us.